Mercedes are in big trouble as Ferrari take the fight for second place down to just 4 points heading into the final round of the season. Following Ferrari's impressive performance in Las Vegas, Mercedes need to deliver a stellar race in Abu Dhabi to maintain their current position. However, achieving this seems impossible considering the team's current form in comparison to that of Ferrari. Certain characteristics of the final race in Abu Dhabi could play out in the favor of the Mercedes team and against Ferrari, who will finish in P2 on the final day of the season. Today, the Grid Report brings you insights into the final battles that will go down on the last day of the remarkable 2023 Formula One season and the key drivers to look out for in Abu Dhabi. But before we get into that, kindly like and subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's get into it. Going into the grid for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, Ferrari was just 20 points behind second-place Mercedes. The Ferrari side was keen to take on the battle and finish in P2 at the end of the season. Unfortunately for the Mercedes team, Ferrari came prepared for battle as Charles Leclerc finished on the podium in P2 and Carlos Sainz finished in P6. The drivers for Mercedes had quite a disappointing race engulfed with a lot of chaos. Coming home in a disappointing 7th and 8th for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell respectively was heartbreaking for the principal Toto Wolff on a day Ferrari closed the gap to the Silver Arrows in the championship. What went wrong with Mercedes in Las Vegas? Las Vegas was simply chaotic for Mercedes as both drivers had their different share of problems on the grid during the main race. Hamilton was caught up in the first corner, carrying damage after Carlos Sainz slid into the side of his car. He was then involved in a racing incident midway through with Oscar Piastri, which caused a rear wheel puncture. The unfortunate Hamilton only felt the tyre begin to deflate as he drove past the pit lane exit and thus had to complete a full lap at slow speed before finally making it back to the pits at the second longest track in the calendar. "A bit unfortunate today," said Hamilton. "I had a good pace, but I was doomed from yesterday. Qualifying really screwed me and that's on me. Then the race I got a big hit from behind at the start, so we all went wide. I was really lucky to not collect people that was spun around the other way and then obviously lost out another 20 seconds on the slow lap with a puncture after Oscar. And then pit stops 20 plus seconds, so to come back, I'm pretty grateful," Hamilton said as he emotionally recapped his outing in Las Vegas. As for Russell, the Mercedes driver couldn't hide his disappointment after feeling that he had missed out on a podium finish in Las Vegas. After running a competitive race in third for much of the evening, Russell was making his way back through the field after pitting when he collided with Verstappen, with stewards handing Russell a 5-second penalty for causing a collision. The safety car was called upon while the debris from that incident was cleared, with Russell heading back into the pits for another set of tyres. He then made his way back through the field and finished 4th before the penalty knocked him down to P8. Reflecting on the final result, Russell said, "Really disappointed to be honest. Feels like the story of my season. On course for an easy P3 to be honest. The incident with Max was totally my fault. Had there not been a safety car, we would have still finished third. But the safety car came out. We decided to pit for a second set just to be safe in case we got a puncture on that first set. I'm just a bit lost for words right now. It's really been a frustrating season." Another frustrated member of the Mercedes team in Las Vegas was the team principal Toto Wolff, who was deeply unhappy with his drivers over their poor display in Vegas, and he didn't hide his emotions at all. "Would have, should have, could have," was Wolff's summary after the race. "We looked at the pace in free air, and we had the pace of the leaders. When Lewis had no traffic, that was pretty much where Leclerc was racing in terms of lap times. It summarizes the season. You make your own luck, but we had more bad luck today. 7th, 8th, the two cars could have been on the podium, but they weren't." When asked about the intense battle for second place that will be concluded in Abu Dhabi, Wolff had this to say. "To be honest, it's good to have P2 as a positive to finish the season, but P2, P3 for me? There is a little. It doesn't make me particularly cheery anyway. How do you say, it doesn't make this year better for me." The real question now is whether the pain and disappointment of the Las Vegas Grand Prix could propel Mercedes to a stellar performance in Abu Dhabi. Asked if he could take positives from the race, Hamilton answered, "Yeah, there's always a silver lining. We lost a lot of points today to Ferrari, which is really unfortunate, but we go to the last race and we will fight and give it everything we've got." As for the second team in the battle, Ferrari secured 16 more points than their rivals in Las Vegas. It was, however, A Grand Prix of mixed emotions for both Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Sainz had a difficult start from 12th on the grid and struggled for grip on the run down to turn 1 on the opening lap, which saw him slide into the rear of Hamilton, forcing him to come in and replace his damaged front wing. He came out at the back of the field and was seen squabbling with both Aston Martin drivers and the Red Bull of Sergio Perez before making steady progress into the top 10. After a safety car was called upon to clear up the debris from the collision between George Russell and Max Verstappen, Sainz opted to pit again before overtaking Alex Albon late in the event to finish 7th before gaining a place thanks to Russell's 5-second penalty. Asked if he was pleased to finish 6th after his difficult start, Sainz replied, "Yeah, given we were nearly dead last after lap 1, it was a good recovery to P6. It wasn't easy with the cooling of the engine, with the tyre graining to follow cars and overtake today, but we managed to recover and damage limitation." Sainz qualified second behind his teammate Charles Leclerc, but due to a 10th-place grid penalty, was forced to start in 12th. However, he believes with the pace Ferrari had shown, he and Leclerc could have disrupted the world champion Verstappen had he started near the front. "I wish we could have been a bit further ahead or started in the first row with Charles to make Max's life a bit more difficult. I think with the two Ferraris up there, the race would have been more fun than apparently what it was," Sainz said in regret, wishing he had done more to aid his team in stopping Max Verstappen and Red Bull for the second time this season. Nevertheless, it was an excellent race for Charles Leclerc, who secured the podium, but the veteran was still a bit disappointed to have missed out on the Las Vegas victory. Starting on pole, Leclerc lost out at the start to Max Verstappen, but the Dutchman was given a 5-second penalty for pushing the Ferrari racer off the track at turn 1, with Leclerc overtaking Verstappen for the lead a few laps later. He dropped to 3rd after swapping his medium tyres for the hards just before the safety car was called upon, with the marshals needing to clear debris from the track after the Verstappen-Russell collision. Leclerc opted to stay out and take the lead while his rivals came in for some fresher rubber. He initially lost out to both Red Bull drivers, but on the last lap of the race, he made his move past Sergio Perez to seal a well-earned 2nd place. Talking about his awesome performance on the Vegas grid afterward, Leclerc had this to say: "I mean, what a race. Honestly, I enjoyed it so much. I'm of course disappointed to only finish 2nd, but in the end, that was the best we could do." At the start, it was very tricky because I think Max on the inside lost a little bit of grip and rode me on the outside. But then we had a pace, we passed him back. We were really strong overall, so that was a really good race, Leclerc added, showing his satisfaction with the outcome of the race. Giving a last message to Ferrari fans in attendance, Leclerc said, "I'm sorry about the 2nd place, I gave it my all. But on the other hand, I'm sure that everybody had an amazing time looking at the race. I really enjoyed it. We should have more races like that, where the racing is like that, because it was really enjoyable." With Leclerc's direct promise to fans and the clear show of disappointment by Sainz after a star performance like that, it is obvious that Ferrari is not relenting in their pursuit for 2nd place. Can they overtake Mercedes in Abu Dhabi, or will we see the best of Hamilton and Russell in the last race of the season? Only time will tell. The battle for 2nd place isn't the only battle we'll be witnessing in Abu Dhabi. We also have the battle at the back as the bottom teams fight for higher positions to end the season in glory. From Williams in P7 to Haas in P10, the battle remains tight, and the standings could change as all 4 bottom teams are close in points. Williams is in P7 with 28 points, followed by AlphaTauri, who made a late-season comeback from last and has 21 points. Alfa Romeo is 2nd to last with 16 points, 4 points ahead of P10 Haas. A point to either of these teams in Abu Dhabi could alter the standings. Which teams will you be supporting at the final race of the year? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest F1 news. Until next time, goodbye.